Unfortunately, it is on a Monday, a weekday, when people are working the day after recess. Are you, Congressman, Senator, are both of you familiar with the Clean Power Plan, CPP?
Not by that name, no. Help me.
The Clean Power Plan, CPP, it's Obama's plan to cut carbon emissions. It is under the Paris Climate Agreement. The Paris Climate Agreement is to basically fight global warming. Obama's Clean Power Plan, CPP, was to contribute to that so that we can have green energy. Before President Trump put Scott Pruitt in charge of the EPA, Scott Pruitt was the governor of Kansas. While Scott Pruitt was the governor of Kansas, he sued the EPA 14 times. Thank you for letting me go on about this because it's kind of convoluted and a lot of people don't understand it. So I hope you still bear with me. Scott Pruitt led a coalition of 28 states to fight the CPP, Clean Power Plan. Again, the Clean Power Plan is Obama's attempt to work with the Paris Agreement to fight global warming. The Clean Power Plan, which Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, has fought, the Clean Power Plan's goal is to create 30% more renewable energy throughout the country. Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, has fought that. The Clean Power Plan's goal was to create hundreds of thousands of green, renewable jobs throughout the country, including Nevada. This isn't liberal hype. It's not tree hugger logic, and it's not put out by people wearing Birkenstocks. This is according to the National Resource Defense Council. Well, I will ask the question. Okay. Senator Heller, across the board, you supported all of President Trump's cabinet members. You greenlit them, including Scott Pruitt, head of the EPA. The question is, since both of you took money from ISPs, I'm wondering if you took money from the Koch brothers, just since the Koch brothers were supporting Scott Pruitt to fight green energy. The Koch brothers are in support of fossil fuels. Did you, Senator Heller, did you take any money from the Koch brothers to support Scott Pruitt to fight green energy and green jobs in Nevada? That was the question.
That's the question. All right. Thanks for answering the question. I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear that nobody agrees with everything everybody else does. Nobody does. So whether it's members of the cabinet, there are things I agree on, things I disagree. But let me be very clear with everybody in here. When I think Trump is right, I'll support him. When I don't, I won't. And I will certainly try to change his mind on some of those issues. There is no Republican back in Washington, D.C. that has done more for alternative energy than I have since I've been in the United States Senate. I'm not a climate denier. But I have pushed the investment tax credit to make sure that the solar energy, in fact, I passed it at the end of last year, to make sure that solar energy is solid, and we create the necessary jobs, the jobs for solar energy, the solar for geothermal, the jobs for geothermal. We have wonderful opportunities here in the state of Nevada to push alternative energy. I'm not a denier. Yeah, may or may not have taken money from the Koch industry. To me, that doesn't make a difference. I'll continue to push. As long as I'm in the United States Senate, I'll continue to push an all-of-the-above energy policy that includes alternative energy.
I'm sorry, but I was actually looking for specific an answer to the Koch brothers who push for fossil fuel and fight green energy and green energy jobs. Have you taken any money from the Koch brothers?
I think I just answered that question. I'm pretty certain that in my 2 years in the United States Annual Congress, that yes, I've taken money from the Koch brothers. To support these projects.
How are you able to continue to support green energy and green jobs in Nevada when you greenlit Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, who doesn't even agree with global warming and fights it, saying that CO2 is not contributing to global warming?
When I don't think he's right, I'll change his mind.
Do you believe that man-made carbon dioxide contributes to the
I've got to find it tonight.
Sir, can we, no disrespect, but you've been kind of generous enough to get to the next one. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
How long do you want to carry this on, dude?
Good morning, Senator and Congressman. I appreciate this. And please, I've got hearing aids. If you guys do too much shouting, I can't hear the answers. So I'm going to share some personal information. I've been a resident of Washoe County since 1978. When I first moved here, we used to have smog inversions, and that lasted for a couple of decades, that were so bad that I would get sick. I would get sinus infections that, breathing the pea soup air, we used to call it, that forced me actually to leave town so that I could recover. Other people I knew suffered from asthma, from bronchitis. All that changed, and it changed as a result of the work of the EPA. Now, when I hear that Donald Trump wants to severely cut the EPA budget, I'm angry. This is not acceptable. We cannot go backwards. Work we need to do. Now, Senator Heller, I've called your office about this, and I've gotten a letter from you, okay? In fact, a lot of letters. I appreciate those letters. Your staff is diligent.
See, I respond. Thank you.
Yes. One of the things that you described was how your family enjoys the outdoors and camping. Well, my family does too. That's one thing we share. However, last summer, my husband and I had to cancel plans to go camping on 3 different occasions because the intense smoke from wildland fires was so bad, okay? This isn't just an accident. This isn't an anomaly. If you look at the climate models developed by Desert Research Institute and others, this is part of climate change in our area. This is the prediction. And so I wanted to say, in your letter you also mentioned, and this is verbatim, okay, that Congress should take steps to reduce carbon emissions to curb impacts on climate change. I'm glad we agree on that. However, you did not answer my question about EPA funding cuts. My figure is that Nevada receives $6.8 million in funding from the EPA for environmental work. Will you fight to protect the EPA from Trump budget cuts? And if not, how do you propose to replace that money coming into Nevada?
Thank you for your question. If it's okay with you, can I start and then we can finish with him? Because you've hit on some things that I think are kind of global. I would like to remind people that when the president submits a budget, I mean, they always do that. They're supposed to, that's their prerogative. The president does not make the budget. It's the Congress that makes the budget. So the president wants to cut this and he wants to build up that. That's all fine. That's his prerogative. Previous administrations have done that. But I would submit to you, just from the perspective that I view things from, that of course you should pay attention when there are proposals that distress you, and you have and you are, but the budget gets set by the Congress and the money gets appropriated and spent by the Congress. So I will just tell you as a general proposition that the fact there are some things in the president's budget which talk about Job Corps, SNPLMA funds, EPA, all that other sort of stuff, is something that you ought to keep a close eye on, because I don't think that Congress will go along with that.
You should keep an eye on it.
Okay,
Well, I plan to keep an eye on it, but I assume that since you're here, that you enjoy keeping an eye on me, so come on in, the water's fine.
I'd like to hear from Senator Heller, just because he is on the Budget Committee.
Yeah, I think Mark was absolutely right on this, and that is that the president's going to submit a budget. Obama submitted 8 budgets, and in 8 years he got 1 vote on his budget. 1 vote. Now we've got Trump. Trump is submitting his budget. And the House is going to propose their budget, and the Senate's going to propose their budget, and I guarantee you this, it'll look nothing. It will look nothing like the president's budget. So we'll keep a close eye on it, watch it closely
Okay, but that still
and
doesn't tell me where
carefully.
you stand, Senator. Okay,
No, I've
that's
told
what
you.
asked
I've told you.
Do you oppose budget cuts to the EPA?
There's no senator, no Republican senator in Washington, D.C. that has done more for alternative energy. That being the case,
Okay, and I
we'll
commend
take a very close look at the EPA budget, and sure, I guarantee you,
I commend that, Senator,
that there will be things in that budget that I don't agree with, including the EPA cuts.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little disappointed with your answer, but I will be watching. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a retired college teacher, so if I'm speaking too loudly, let me know. Thank you so seriously, my voice carries. So thank you so much for being here, Congressman Amodei. Thank you for your service. Some of my best college students were vets, so thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
For both gentlemen and for everybody here, my name is Anna Casaretto. I am one of the organizers for the Northern Nevada March for Science. Not a partisan issue. I am just here to ask a simple question that is going to be asked of Senator Heller, of course, and here it goes. Do you, Senator Heller, believe that it is the responsibility of the federal government or of the states to lead on conservation and environmental protections?
Yeah, I'm a conservationist. And I do believe that we need to move those proposals forward to make sure that future generations have an opportunity to enjoy this country and its outdoors just as much as everybody else.
Thank you. Now, do you believe that it is either the state's responsibility, the federal responsibility, or is it both the state and the federal responsibility to conserve the environment?
As a Republican, I would push that down as to the states as much as I possibly could. But
well then, thank you. Okay. You guys,
push it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. The senator did answer the question.
I have more confidence in Governor Sandoval than I do with anybody in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so then, Senator, thank you. Thank you for that clear answer.
That doesn't mean we don't have a responsibility back in Washington, D.C. I just want the majority of the responsibility down at the state level.
So then, I'm sorry, just to clarify for me,
yeah.
I do science, so I need clarification on a lot of things. Are you saying then that it is the responsibility of the state and the federal government to take on these environmental issues?
Sure, I think it's all our responsibility. Everybody here in this room, it's your responsibility to take care of this planet.
Absolutely.
It's the state's responsibility and it's the federal responsibility. So we'll do everything we can in that mode to make sure that future generations have an opportunity to enjoy this.
If it is both the state and the federal responsibility to take care of environmental issues, do you and will you support President Trump's $6.8 million cut to the EPA?
As I said earlier.
Just a yes or no question. Yeah. Yes or no?
I probably wouldn't support most of it.
Answers.
Probably wouldn't support most of it.
The reason I'm asking this, because I was thinking about it last night and I was coming up with numbers, right? So I did just a little bit of research. Here in the state of Nevada, and I'll be quick, everybody else. In the state of Nevada here, we have about 200 EPA employees. A $6.8 million cut equals to 130 jobs that will be lost. Okay, the median income in Nevada is about $50,000. Median, not average, but median is about $50,000. If each job that is cut or can be cut due to the $6.8 million budget cut to the EPA if each job feeds a family of 4, then the initial and direct loss in revenue, so direct meaning the individuals that work for the EPA don't have money to pay the rent, food, shelter, so on and so forth, then for all 130 jobs, we are looking at a $5 million loss in revenue, direct. If each one of those jobs indirectly affects 10 other jobs, then that's $300,000 that we are going to be losing. If each one of those indirect jobs are also grow exponentially or affect other jobs exponentially, you have 10 to the second, right? So now you're looking at $1 million extra in loss of revenue, so on and so forth. So economically, from the relax. So economically, $6.8 million budget cut to the EPA will not just be 6.8 mil. Okay. It'll be 6.8 mil plus another 7 mil for the first year alone of 130 people losing their jobs.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you for your time.
Anna, thanks for your question, and also thanks for doing your homework. But let me just answer it quite evenly, and that is that reasonable people back in Washington, D.C. will come together, and I will be one of them, and we will make the correct adjustments to this president's budget.